morning all, how the devil is everyone? It is a fine, glorious day here in sunny California. The sunshine has invigorated me and has steeled my will against the toxic deluge of communist drivel that's on the BBC website. So, due to popular demand, I have rebranded and reinvigorated my BBC News Roundup. It is now called The BBC Spews, following a suggestion from one of my tasteful followers. So we're going to go through it. As always, I've got 4 or 5 really good stories picked up from the week's drivel, and let's get down to it, shall we? The first one was something you knew they wouldn't be able to leave alone, is the fucking long-awaited Russia report. Now, I don't know about you guys watching. We had essentially 4 votes on Brexit. We had the referendum, obviously everyone knows about. We had a general election. We had the local council elections. We had the European elections, where the Brexit Party smashed it, even though they'd only existed for 3 bastard months. Pretty unprecedented. And then we had another general election, so there's 5 votes, really. We did it the hard way, to the point where none of us thought it was going to happen. None of us thought it was going to happen. We thought the powers that be, sneaky rat bastards that they are, were going to completely ignore the will of the general public and just go, listen lads, we all get fucking class pensions and great kickbacks off Brussels. Jean-Claude Juncker, he sorts me out with a handy every time I need one, those kinky European devils. We're not doing it. You might want us to leave, but fuck you. That was what we all thought was the crack. And we had to do it the hard way. We had to vote again and again and again and again to make them weasel, rat bastard politicians do what we pay them for, which is carry out the will of the people. Like I've said before, this is what staggers me about our democracy. It's in their job description. They do what we tell them. If we have something as nailed on as a referendum, like Anna Turley was the worst. Anna Turley was the MP from Redcar. Redcar's near Middlesbrough. One of the most hardcore Brexit places in the country. 65% of them voted for Brexit. And Anna Turley constantly trying to undermine it. It's like, even if you believe with every fibre of your being that it's a bad idea, you do as you're fucking told. That's your job. If I was the representative for Redcar and they said, we want to bulldoze the local Aldi and build a giant robotic cock on the site, then I would have to support that. If we had a black and white vote on it and 65% of the people said, yes, do it, I wouldn't be like, well, I think it's a bad idea. You're not employed to tell us what. Well, this representative democracy is the excuse all the lawyers use. The fucking lawyers that try to weasel the way out of everything. Yes, it's representative democracy, but when you ask a black and white question, you get a black and white answer. And it's not their fucking job to ignore what the people tell them to do. Anyway, segued into a bit of a rant there. The point is, the Russia report, we all know the crack. It's partisan. Our civil service is partisan. The people that work that prepare these reports are partisan. I do trust MI5 and MI6 and the likes to look after the security of the country. I do. But when it comes to politics, and nearly everything's political now, they have a position and have made it known. So this is bollocks. It says it's been a long time coming, but the British public are finally about to see the details of the Russia report. Did Russia try to influence the Brexit vote? The report does not come to a conclusion on this key question. No. They didn't, but they don't want to say that, so there's no conclusion. The numbers are out. The Facebook said they spent something like $3,000 fucking dollars on ads. Who cares? So the report cites open source studies which said there was some pro-Brexit or anti-EU stories on RT and Sputnik. Well, the fucking horrible cunts. They're allowed an opinion. So, no. Short answer. More than 150,000 Russian accounts tweeted about Brexit. They're allowed an opinion. The government says we have seen no evidence of successful interference in the EU referendum. Fucking done. Move on, you lefty twats. What about the Scottish independence referendum? Again, very little to say about it. Some credible open source commentary suggesting Russia undertook influence campaigns. Some pro-Russian trolls have been spreading claims the poll had been rigged. Listen. The internet is open to everyone. Everyone. There's about 7 billion people on the fucking internet. A few thousand trolls doesn't mean that the Russian state, headed by Vladimir Putin himself, had thousands of fucking former KGB operatives cunningly sneaking around, desperately trying to sway the vote or rigging polling booths or something. People troll the internet. It's something we all have to deal with. But it doesn't give you an excuse to overturn the fucking result of 5 elections, so shut the fuck up talking about it. I will link the story. It's basically, seriously, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. It's not worth your time to read. It's short, it's brief, it uses as many weasel words as possible, but ultimately says, we can't really prove anything. So, no. Can we fucking leave the EU now? Cheers. Moving on, George Floyd, Manchester mural defaced with racist slur. This one is my favourite for hyperbole. Just read this. So George Floyd, poor cunt, didn't deserve killing. Nobody thinks he did. But definitely shouldn't be turned into a Christ-like figure. He was a horrible bastard, and he held a pistol to a pregnant woman's stomach while his mates robbed her. I wonder what she thinks about all of this, eh? I bet she's not out there with a fucking BLM hat on. Because if she thinks Black Lives Matter, she probably should have a sign saying, "Don't hold a Glock next to my fetus's face, you horrible bastard." It said it had sickening racist slur spray painted on it. The portrait, which was painted by Akase P19 in memory of Floyd, the city's council said it would do everything we can to find out who committed this abhorrent crime. Like, honestly, that type of thing you would expect for like a gang rape or something. Like if 10 blokes fucking gang raped a 12-year-old, I would expect them to say, "We will do everything we can to find out who committed this abhorrent crime." That's how bad the wording is. And what was it? It was a bloke daubing a bit of graffiti over an already existing bit of graffiti. That's it. I'm not promoting racial slur words, but is that an abhorrent crime? Shoveling babies into gas chambers is an abhorrent crime. We need to dial down the rhetoric, don't we? Or else there's nowhere else to go. Like I keep saying, if you call Trump a fascist Nazi, Hitler, fascist Nazi racist, what do you do when someone turns up who is a fascist Nazi racist? If Hitler was returned from the grave and said, "Right, start the fucking ovens back up," we've already used all of the cool words for Trump, so he's just on the same level. He's a fascist Nazi racist. Orange fascist Nazi racist. There needs to be different levels for crimes here, or else everything's just the worst thing ever. So, can we dial it down a little bit? This truly abhorrent crime. Really, a bit of graffiti, bit of racial graffiti. Not the end of the world, surely. What would he get for it? A fine? Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe they've subsumed the legal system so much that now if you spray the N-word on the wall, like a 13-year-old being a bit of an edgy cunt, what are they going to do? Clamp him in irons and lead him off to the fucking salt mines for 20 years? The world's gone mad. Yeah, the police are doing everything they can to identify this despicable murderous villain. It happened overnight. I see P19 said he was disgusted. "I've suffered racism since childhood." Of course you have. Yeah, everyone's a racist. We know that now. I was in school with loads of black lads, and, well, not loads, a few. As I've said, there was a few black lads and a couple of Asians. I never heard them ever get really badly racially abused because people were like, we were sort of over that in the 90s. But apparently now, 2020, with all these woke teenagers, apparently their schools were hotbeds. Like they all went to school with 1960s skinheads from the National Front, if you believe their fucking endless victim whine. Which I don't, by the way, if you didn't guess. God, look, Nigel Murphy, it is utterly sickening that this type of behaviour exists. Utterly sickening, like, oh, some people are cunts, man. Calm down. We do not tolerate hate. Kill them all. If you even suspect someone is a racist, kill them all. And the kids. Kill them all to prove that we do not tolerate hate. Mr. Floyd's death prompted protests around the world. We know. It's horrible. The little twat, he deserves a cuff round the ear. And he shouldn't be racist. But fuck me. You would think he was a baby raper, wouldn't you? Like he dug up Mary Magdalene's skeleton and fucked her up against a wheelie bin out the back of Netto. Speaking of rape, 10 men convicted over gang rape in Germany. 10 men, mostly Syrian refugees. I bet it pained the BBC typing that out. They were like, They were just desperate to put ginger people. Pale ginger rapists. No, Syrian refugees have been found guilty over the gang rape of a woman outside a German nightclub. Freiburg. I've been to Freiburg. Went with my mates in about 2004 when it was actually nice. Now, looks like fucking Mogadishu. The lead defendant was sentenced to 5.5 years for the attack. 5.5 years. So he'll be out in fucking 3. This is what I'm talking about. You punch Owen Jones. Some twat punched Owen Jones, give him like a tiny little scuff on the eye. Don't assault people. You shouldn't be doing things like that. But he basically got like 3 years for it. So it's like, you and 9 of your mates gorilla fuck a woman. You'll be out in 2.5. Punch Owen Jones in the eye. And I guarantee, I bet you he does the full 3. So basically, if you're a white working class bloke and you give someone a clip round the ear, you get 3 years in jail. If you gang fuck a young lass, but you're a Syrian refugee, get him out in 2.5. Fair's fair, right? She'll have a fucking limp for 2.5 years, and that cunt's going to be out in prison about the same time she's walking properly. Fair. That's justice for us. 7 others got sentences up to 4 years. Fuck. Unbelievable. So honestly, the best prayer nobody ever gang rapes my fucking missus. Because I'm sorry, such weak sentences would cause me to snap. Like, I'm not promoting vigilantism, but if I knew the blokes who gorilla fucked my missus were going to be out in jail in 2 years, I think I'd just go, you know what? I'd be happy to go to jail for life to get my hands on some of these bastards. I think I would just snap and go mental. So they need to sort it out, because I think their weakness on anyone who's got a tan appearing before a judge is just going to fuel more far-right sentiment, isn't it? It's not fair. A guy cuffing someone round the ear getting jailed for as long as a gang rapist. It doesn't make any sense. There's loads of examples of it. That woman who stabbed her husband, nearly killed the cunt, and they didn't send her to prison because she's pretty and she was going to university. Or a load of Somalian women shouting, "Kill the white slag," when they caved some woman's head in and they all got spared jail because, you know, they were Muslims and they weren't used to alcohol, apparently. Like, if they don't get a grip and actually go back to blind justice, people are just going to get resentful and bitter and go, you know what, fuck it. I think the fire axe will do. So they need to sort it out. She was 18, she had a drink spiked, attacked in the bushes. 8 of them were Syrians, 3 of them from Iraq and Afghanistan and Germany. Fucking. And the German was doubtless not a pasty, blue-eyed blonde guy called Hans, was he? I think that's fair to say. What the fuck was he hanging around with them for? After the attack, the anti-Islam AFD took to the streets, which is the real crime here. We let them have a protest, the bastards. Give all them 20 years each. Let the rapists off with a slap on the wrist. Justice. Mrs Merkel has received both praise and criticism for her open door policy. Yeah, BBC. Praise, criticism. No, she's a fucking little fat poison dwarf and she's wrecked Europe. Write that on there after you've glossed over a gang rape, you fucking horrible commie bastards. Moving on. Ironic death always allows me to approach sad events with a grim stoicism. Commando spirit, that right, is a sense of humour in adversity. I do see something to wryly smile at over a teen stabbed to death at a knife awareness course. Maybe I'm a bastard, but listen, he's definitely aware of them now, isn't he? Young offender stabbed another teenager to death at a community centre while on a knife awareness course. Yep, he knows all about knives, that little fucker. The 17-year-old boy who cannot be named knifed Hakeem Salah twice in the chest. Prosecutor said there was a cruel irony that Mr. Salah was stabbed while attending a weapons awareness course. Even the prosecutors could see the joke there. The teenager denies murdering him. Something else that always makes me laugh about our weak as piss justice system, like, you can deny it. Like, you can stab someone in the eye in front of 50 witnesses. Wasn't me, my lord. Like, he also denies 2 counts of wounding with intent and 1 count of unlawful. He denies the lot then. Wasn't me. It was a ghost that looked like me. Michelle Nelson said they were all assessed before the session, badly, and those classified as high risk were precluded from attending. So there they are, all the civil servants and the fucking bureaucrats and the lefty do-gooders. They're trying to clean their hands, aren't they? Nothing to do with me. Anyone classed as high risk was precluded from attending, my lord. Yes, but someone stabbed a teenager to death, you thick twat. Both of the young men have been risk assessed. Well, that shows the worth of a risk assessment, doesn't it? By some lefty bureaucrat. The sad reality is they both attended the course carrying knives. Jesus wept. So your risk assessment is not worth a wank. Stabbed twice in the chest, defensive injuries on his hands while trying to take control of the blade. Died in hospital. A sheathed Rambo knife. I don't think that's a technical term, but, well, you know, they're only the police. They can't be expected to deal with violence. They're only police officers. They can't be expected to deal with violent knife-wielding criminals and be trained in that type of thing. So, you know, what do you expect? Leave professionals to use terms like Steve Irwin or like naturalists. They're the guys who should know about knives, not policemen. They should know about gay raves and disco dancing in the street with fucking convicted rapists. Said the defendant's blood and DNA was found on the weapon. Yeah, one would think the evidence is quite high in their favour. The defendant doesn't dispute killing him, but he said he didn't intend to kill him or cause really serious harm. Yeah, when you stab someone repeatedly in the chest, you're not trying to cause really serious harm. You're just trying to flick the dirt off the front of his jacket with your sheathed Rambo knife. Sorry, unsheathed when you're sticking it in him, I'm assuming, unless he's got very strong guns. So the prosecution says the defendant took a deliberate decision to stab him, and we say lawful self-defence does not arise. The trial continues. Well, the ironic trial, the incompetent lefty do-gooders, the wanky risk assessments, and the marvellously ironic title all combine to just make that a classic story for my BBC News Roundup. Well done, do-gooders. Knife awareness courses are a much better idea than locking criminal shitbags up. What do I know? They've been doing this for years. I used to joke about this when I was a teenager and I read about, I remember being about 15 and reading the paper. I'd do the sports and the cartoons and occasionally I'd glance over the news. And it was something ridiculous, like 9 pedos get sent to fucking Lightwater Valley on a fucking course. Like Harriet Harman was big into courses. Oh, you're a rapist? Send them on a course. An anti-rape course. What, you like fucking and eating kids? Send them on an anti-cannibal course. That'll fix the problem. No, bury the cunts or lock them in a fucking cell, a very sparse cell with only bread and water for 25 fucking years at a minimum. No early release, not until they are so old and crusty that their fingers would dissolve if they tried to diddle a child. That's what you do with pedos and fucking murderers. You don't send them on courses, you maniacs. Finally, Wall of Moms joined Portland's anti-racism protests. I don't want to talk about this too long. The short version is, Portland's fucked. Any Brits haven't been following it. It's fucked. Fucked. On fire, constant riots, unbelievable amounts of destruction, blinding and assaulting police officers. Someone's going to get killed who works for the state. It's fucked. And all the BBC wants to talk about, it's just a load of photos with some shit captions, is how basically Trump's goons are all fascists. Look, peaceful suburban no, rioter. Go home, goons, your mums are worried. They're not goons, they're trying to enforce the law. They're trying to enforce the law, and that's vital for freedom. That's all I want to say, because both sides of this argument get this wrong. The mega right-wing sort of leading libertarian types who are like minimum government, the hardcore ones don't understand that you need the government. Yeah, it should be small and efficient, but you need it. And the lefty agitators, these communist cunts, you need the police. You need them. The best quote to sum this up is, of course, John Locke. Where there is no law, there is no freedom. The end of the law is not to abolish or restrain, but to preserve and enlarge freedom. This is what people on both sides of the aisle don't understand. We need taxes, regulations and systems in place. Coppers are vital. Because if you don't have police, you get fucking warlords, like Mad Max, right? You get a big, fat, sweaty rapist who's in charge, because might makes right. And I've been to countries where might makes right. I've been to Sierra Leone. Lawlessness is terrible, and both the far left and the far right and everybody in between needs to understand that. Yes, we can have a debate about the size of the government. Maybe we could cut back on some police. Maybe we could train them more rigorously. There's a lot of things we can do. But the one thing we definitely shouldn't do is get fucking rid of them. I would love to see this. These twats are talking about social workers dealing with crime. Social workers, like, okay, little fucking short ass £110 social workers. You go and deal with a 6'5" burly black trucker who's off his tits because he's lost his meds and he wants to cave your fucking head in with a brick. You send social workers to deal with that. It's so elementary. I can't believe it. Again, I have to explain this to people. But we need the police. Go home. Not the goons. You daft fat granny. You and your stupid mates larping as revolutionaries. Get yourself home. Put the fucking kettle on and let the police return law and order to the street. Then we can have a discussion about sorting out the police, which I can agree with. Some of the police are fucking useless, they need to be better trained, and we can even make some small cuts here and there where we deem it logical and sensible and reasonable. But stop talking about getting rid of them, because they protect your freedoms. They protect your property rights, they protect all the shit you own, and they protect your individual freedoms. And that's fucking that. I despair of this type of shit, right? They want to rewrite history, they're doing the best. This one says, UK citizenship test misleading and false. It says the info on the British history was given to people who apply for citizenship is demonstrably false according to a group of academics. Yeah, a group of academics. I wonder what their political views happen to be. There's an open letter published in an academic journal. The historians and authors accuse the government document of misleading applicants about several aspects of British history. They claim the UK's role in international slave trade is downplayed. You mean it's not just an endless tirade of self-loathing fucking drivel? The Home Office said it will consider feedback and does keep the handbook under review. Tests taken by foreign nationals who want to become UK citizens. The Home Office says it focuses on values and principles at the heart of being British. It covers things like culture, music and sport, but it is the section on history that the group of academics say needs to be addressed. The strongest letter singles out the sections dealing with slavery in the British Empire. It takes particular issue with documents claim that while slavery was illegal within Britain itself, by the 18th century it was a fully established overseas industry. That's true. In fact, whether it was legal or illegal, it was a matter of debate and many people were held as slaves. Well, you could say that now. There are people as slaves all around the world, especially in Asia and Africa and the Middle East, but no fucker wants to talk about that, do they? That's a fact. And there are people debating it. So fuck off. I think we all know what the crack is. There's 181 signatories to this letter, and all 181 of them will be lefty activist twats who aren't interested in history. They're interested in rewriting fucking history. And hopefully Priti Patel is now in charge and she will tell them to Foxtrot Oscar. It reminded me of Horrible Histories. Like, has anyone actually watched Horrible Histories? Well, last time I was home, my nephew was reading one of the books and I picked it up and I was fucking outraged by the shite in there. Like, it is just self-loathing, fake history. They just make shit up and brainwash the kids. Like, it's unbelievable. It should be banned, that. Horrible History should be treated like finding a copy of fucking Mein Kampf in a 10-year-old's bedroom. Like, take it out, set it on fire. It's the worst. Normally I oppose book burning, but in the case of Horrible Histories, I outright advocate its fucking use. There was a song about it. That was the same, yeah. I remember Nish Kumar was on there saying, "Nothing's British. Nothing." It says in one sequence, Queen Victoria is labelled foreign and portrayed as a dullard who is shocked to discover that sugar and cotton don't come from England. It said a manservant performs a song suggesting that Victorians only had access to these goods because of slavery, yet slavery was abolished 4 years before Victoria came to the throne. Andrew Roberts, the historian, described the 10-minute show released on Friday on iPlayer as a stream of bigoted hatred directed against this country. He's a historian. He's quite a well-known historian. No, fuck him. He doesn't know anything about history. A gender studies graduate is going to teach this historian about history. So, shut up you, Roberts, you know nothing. He added these sneering attitudes to all things British should not be forced down the throats of children by the BBC. It is an attempt to make us despise our ancestors in a purely ahistorical way. Unbelievable. Yeah, so this has been going on for years, and the BBC wants you to think that it's not. It's the other way around. Anything that says that Britain's good or libertarian or liberal or helped liberalise half the world or invented hundreds of things like telephones, no, that's all bollocks. Anything good we did, that's lies, and anything bad we did 10 times more of it. That is the fucking history the BBC News want you to teach. And even the headline, UK citizenship tells misleading and false. It doesn't say small group of academics question UK citizenship test. It just says misleading and false, because these are the same twats who write horrible histories. Make your own mind up on that one. I think I'll shit-can it there. That's it for this week. Hopefully, due to its ingenious rebranding, it'll be up for more than 2 hours. We shall see. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and share. Do me a favour and plug the channel for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next Sunday for another endless stream of woke propaganda. Your tax money. Thankfully, not mine anymore. Dodged a bullet there. Cheers.